The SAPS in Limpopo celebrates the retirement of a renowned communication colonel. Who is it? Well, let's bring in Pimani Baloyi to tell us more. Pimani joins us now live. Pimani, very good morning to you. Talk to us about this legend, living legend that people are calling.
Good morning, Blaine. Indeed, today Limpopo celebrates the life and career of Colonel Moatshe Ngoepe, who has been a SAPS communicator in the province for several years now, for several decades now. And tomorrow marks the end of his career, which spanned for about 37 years, Blaine. I'm going to be bringing in Colonel Ngoepe to tell us about some of his highlights. Colonel, you are known as one of those communicators who are able to speak fluently in several languages found in this province, and a lot of specifically radio listeners, television viewers know you to be the person who communicates about crime stories in the province. Tomorrow you are ending this career. How has it been? How does it look now that you are now leaving the SAPS?
Definitely sure. It is not okay with me, and on the same note, it's okay with me. It's not okay on the basis that I'm losing my SAPS family. Now I will be remaining with one family. You remember all along I was having two families. But on the same note, I think when I've ran my race up to the age of 60 years old, I think it's the time for me to give the young blood an opportunity to come in and show their case. Yes.
Colonel, it's not easy communicating for the SAPS. Mostly it's about gruesome crimes, and talking about things that touch people's lives, the loss of lives, the injuring of others. Just take us through some of the most challenging cases that you've had to communicate to the country that were on the national spotlight.
From the point of view is that the SAPS have taken us through courses, especially I remember when I was doing crisis communication. That's where it empowers you to, whenever you face any type of a situation, you can discharge your services accordingly. Definitely so, we had a lot of situations, especially the unrest, where you will have to communicate out to the public, on the same note, put some intervention measures to quell the situation. And secondly, I can remember the incidents where there was a very serious catch-in-transit incident where, on the same note, the suspects were so scattered and our members were after them. I was there at the crime scene, communicating live from there, and on the same note, assuring members of the public that we will arrest them. The only thing we request from them is support in the form of quality information. And indeed, in few hours to go, I go back to air again to say we have arrested 8 or 10 or 12. That is one of the things which I will never forget in my entire career, especially as the spokesperson, because you will remember that if I am, as I was a spokesperson, the time for me to rest is limited. When I'm sleeping in the early hours, there's a crime scene. I must wake up, because the fact of the matter is that for me to remain a credible communication officer of a glorious organization like SAPS, I must talk the facts, the truth. I must speak from where things are happening, so that my facts are always up to scratch. I cannot sit here and become to engage on the damage control all time and again. Now I'm becoming useless. That is where now I'm saying, as a communication officer, you must always make sure that you verify facts before you communicate them out.
And let's talk about your career. You didn't just work in communication at the SAPS. Take us through these 37 years. Which units were you in? How did you grow through the ranks? And what would be your advice to the next police officer who's just graduated to ensure that they get to where you are right now?
Definitely sure. I've started in the formerly known as church offices, community service center. Then from there I went to, there was another section called inquiry, that is falling under crime prevention. From there, I was a detective for almost 8 years. And then that is where I've seen my fullest love in this organization, because I remember I end up investigating the most serious cases where 4 people are killed and so forth. And very interesting, the cases which I was always interested in is the cases which were quiet. You know, a case where maybe, usually when we receive this case docket, it's on Mondays. When I receive a docket having an arrest, no. I want a docket with suspect unknown. Because my duty as a detective is to detect what happened. And I will definitely make sure that I give myself 5 to 10 days. I must crack that case. And definitely sure I had above 90% of my success rate in terms of detection. So because I was working closer to the victims, working closer to the community members. You cannot stay put behind your victims. Any docket have got victims are very vital with regard to the success of any case. Community members, community leaders, indonors, tribal authorities, and so forth, everybody in the community. Those people are always readily available with information. The only thing we are saying, let them continue to make sure that they support the police in their endeavor to fight crime in any type of valuable information.
And Colonel, just yesterday, you know, when we look at Limpopo, there's an increase in crime, of course, across the country. But when we look at Limpopo, just yesterday, we were at a police station where somebody walked in and held police officers hostage. This is a second case just in Malamulele. People went into a police station, stole firearms, and they are using them to commit crimes. It seems there's an increase in crime. Are we losing the fight against crime?
I just want to assure the citizens of this country to say, especially in Limpopo, to say we have got dedicated policewomen and men who are working around the clock. I can go with you now to all our police stations. They are flooding with arrested suspects. We can go to correctional facilities. They are over flooding with arrested, convicted people who were arrested by us as the police. We've got good police officers. The only thing is that we are to make sure that we have a very clear process in terms of dealing with each and every case as it comes. Why I'm saying this is that community members, in most cases, you find that our members locally there, they struggle to get information. But at a later stage, you hear that the very same community have cornered somebody, assaulted him to death, accusing him of on the same crime. But our members were there. They did not tell them that, no, this is the right suspect. What I'm saying is that if members of our communities can stand up and work with our police officers and give them information always. If ever something is not okay, let them report to the local station commanders, district commissioners. Our provincial commissioner is always available, and the deputies also.
Let's talk about languages, Colonel. This is an area where a lot of people know you for. Like they were the Inti, so Maporisa ile Limpopo. Those are some of the highlights when we meet people on the streets, they talk about you. Tell us the significance of you being able to speak to the people of this province in their language and tell them about this crime that's happening here.
You know, when I left the detective services to join communication, I did not left that component because there were problems. No. I just wanted to explore in other avenues of the SAPS. You know, I landed in Guyana without knowing a single word, including just to greet in Changana. I didn't know. But I always, when I was conducting interviews with the SABC, radio news, current affairs, and so forth, they were always interpreting for me. I said, no. I'm a real African, and I'm servicing my own African communities. I must know and understand their language. I started to collect all the books for Shanga, Tsonga books, and I started to listen more than any other radio station, until I managed to pick up word by word, sentence by sentence. And
Colonel, where to now? You are bowing out. Are you going to go into farming? What is the next step now?
Before I am a police officer, I am a member of the community. Definitely sure, I think, sitting here, I can call myself as a person having dual residential places. My family is my mother. My home is Ratawotswala in Mogalakwena municipality. But my house is in Khapane Bulbedu in the Mopani district. Definitely so, the two communities I'm in their hands, I'm in their disposal. You'll remember that for 37 years, I was in the total disposal of the state. Now I'm going to be in the total disposal of my family and my communities.
Thank you so much, Colonel. Blaine, that's Colonel Moatshe Ngoepe, the spokesperson of the SAPS in Limpopo, who's having his last day in this position tomorrow, telling us that he's going to be a community builder and focusing on ensuring that his community benefits from his experience and all his skills that he has. Blaine?